This is Togo, a brilliant and often neglected film about one of the most heroic dogs there ever was, who saved a town full of children from diphtheria by running 261 miles in the middle of an Alaskan blizzard to bring the cure home, whose glory unfortunately was accidentally stolen by another dog, Balto, who did run the final 55 miles, but it was Togo who actually ran the farthest distance. I'm bringing this film up not just because I love this film, which I do, but also to hammer home the point that movies with animals have existed for a long time.
I'll shoot you, Hooch!
Well,
I'll shoot you, Hooch!
Stories about heroic pets have existed for a long time, but something has changed. And it wasn't because of Togo, and it wasn't because of any other movies with animals. Actually, something changed about animal characters this year in 2025. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this trailer that recently dropped about a film called Good Boy, which will be releasing on October 3rd. This trailer blew my mind. On the surface, it looks like any other movie with a dog in it. Many horror movies have dogs in them. Cujo, anyone? But something is different here. Something changed. Can you tell what it is just by looking at the screen? To explain what I mean, let me give you another example. Think back to other movies with animals in them and think of how these animals were really portrayed. Don't think of the Pixar and DreamWorks movies for now, whether it's animated or live action. How are animal characters without humanistic traits or speech portrayed? Think back to the time of Duma or Cujo or even Turner and Hooch. Now can you tell the difference? This trailer has no humans taking center stage, no owners, no human subplots. It's just the dog. He is, without a doubt, a live-action, non-humanized main character in a feature-length film. This is huge. Movies usually can't help themselves but let a human character carry forward an animal story, whether as a main character or as a narrator, and even though animals have been given more and more prominent roles in films, they still weren't given full reign, like in The Call of the Wild. Even though it is a story about Buck, Harrison Ford was still shoehorned in to narrate Buck's story and given a major role in the second half of the film. That is not to say that having humans in an animal-focused film is a bad idea, but Good Boy and recent stories like it have shown how bold and risk-taking filmmakers and studios are starting to become by trusting animal-driven stories to be led by the animal protagonists themselves instead of some human counterpart. Don't believe me? Let's look at some other examples. I mentioned movies like Turner and Hooch, where Hooch was basically a sidekick to Turner, and both made a good crime-fighting duo, but it was still Turner who was driving the plot forward. That's understandable because the film is called Turner and Hooch. But what about movies where the animal's name is in the title as the main character? Movies like Marley and Me, Hachi, Duma, Cujo, Canine are all classics, but even then they were not allowed to take center stage in their own movies. Most of these films have the human characters with their own stories, and the animal characters are sort of piggybacking the main plotline as a side character or as a point of contention or as an emotional device for the audience. There are a few exceptions like Hachiko, A Dog Story, or this brilliant film called 8 Below that nobody ever talks about, where there are long takes and entire sequences dedicated to the animals fending for themselves. But even during the dog's solo performances, there were still humans almost interjecting themselves into the main plot, like in the case of Hachi, where the regulars at the train station were given lots of screen time, almost as if to tell the audience, wait, it's not just about the boring, sad, speechless dog. Look, there's a human making jokes and stealing money from a dog. Don't leave the theater yet. We're not gonna leave, bro. We're here for the dog. Sometimes we don't even care about the people. I must stress, though, that it's important to have human characters in the first half of a film like Hachi or 8 Below, where we must establish the bond that these dogs have with their masters. So when they're separated, like in the case of 8 Below, we are watching both the dog's story of having to fend for themselves and also the human story, like in the case of Paul Walker's character, who felt guilty about leaving his dogs behind behind all chained up, not by choice, and then not being able to go back and bring them home. This is why I'm so excited for a movie like Good Boy to come out, and why I enjoyed the fuck out of a video game like Shree or movies like Flow that also won an Oscar in 2025, because I believe that it takes a special type of skill and also the courage to allow animal protagonists to just be themselves to carry the story forward. And I believe this exact skill set allows great writers to create terrifying animal antagonists. Take Cujo, for instance. You can take a generic story of a rabid dog and turn it into the most horrifying ordeal imaginable. Turn him into an unstoppable beast, isolated in his surroundings, except for his two victims and completely devoid of reasoning. It's essentially a kidnapping story with a dangerous predator, and a woman must do everything in her might to keep him away from her and her son. Or for a more complex and intelligent antagonist, take the movie The Grey. This movie follows a group of stranded survivors in an icy wilderness, and unbeknownst to them, they are also actively being hunted by a wolf pack. After one successful human kill, the wolves realize that they're dealing with an intelligent prey when one of their own wolves are also killed, so they decide to stalk the humans instead and lead them to their den, and using Mother Nature against them, knowing that the humans have nothing against the icy jungle and the wolves know every inch of this territory. It's one of the few films like 8 Below where these animals were respected as autonomous creatures with their own strategies, and not just furry creatures who either attack humans or obey our commands. And that is the key word here, autonomy. The best way to write animal protagonists in a film is to give them a sense of autonomy. Writers who respect the animals as having agency over their own decisions can come up with some of the best animal characters in movies. Whether they are expert hunters working alongside the main character like Prey, or going through their own transformations from domesticated to a wild animal like Duma, or in the case of Alpha, another great film, the transformation of a wild animal to man's best friend. Having respect for animal characters also allows filmmakers to create excellent side characters. Like in the case of James Gunn's Superman, Krypto the superdog was absolutely unruly and untrained. And instead of using that fact as simple comic relief, Superman decides to use his unruliness and a talent for breaking things for his own good.
Krypto, get the toy.
Animals have also often been used as like therapeutic devices for main characters in a film, like in the case of Alien, where the main character and her emotional support cat were the last survivors in a horror film, or in A Quiet Place Day 1, where the cat was the main reason the two main human characters actually meet, and it was the cat who gave one of the characters a reason to keep on going. Or in the case of Anatomy of a Fall, where they took it a step further and hired an actual acting dog to play dead for a scene that hints that someone in the house poisoned the dog and may have also murdered the husband. 10 on 10 acting skills, by the way. Movies have even upped the ante recently, where animal characters who are there to support their human counterparts are given complex backstories of their own, as in the case of the movie Dog from 2022, where a military dog named Lulu deals with PTSD and had almost given up on life after her owner died. She also can't shake off old habits, like racially profiling the type of person that she was trained to attack in Afghanistan. And I don't know if racist dog was in my animal movie bingo card, but I guess now we do.
You know what else I buy? White military guy sicks his dog on a Muslim doctor in the heart of working class America.
Or even in movies like Call of the Wild from 2020, where even though I'm not a fan of the CGI fake dog look, it's still an incredible arc of a dog named Buck who grew up spoiled in a lavish home only to be kidnapped and sold as a sled dog in Alaska and being haunted by the spirit of the great wild wolf. We've come a long way from Turner and Hooch, haven't we? It warms my heart because this type of progression is what led to video games like Shree, where we follow the adventures of this lone stray cat guided by his small drone companion, and there are no humans, no narration telling us what's happening, and it's one of the most atmospheric, innocent stories in video game existence, and it's beautiful. Or even Flow, one of the most powerful animated movies I've seen in recent years, where not a single word is spoken. We follow the life of this strange, introverted black cat in a strange, otherworldly universe, and once a flood displaces him from his home. He goes on a hero's journey aboard a boat with a capybara, a monkey, a golden retriever, and a bird so magnificent that I'm very thankful they didn't use narration to describe what he is. All of these films have led to this moment where we get to see an animal truly shine, to protect their pack and take matters into their own hands. Because let's face it, animals have always been autonomous creatures that don't get the credit they deserve. We have seen countless real-life examples of animals being heroic to their owners.
I was very lucky to have her on the night that I had the stroke.
And obviously, she was at her post that night he needed her most.
The neighbor's dog runs around a parked car and attacks the boy. But then in a split second, Jeremy's pet cat Tara races to the rescue, chasing off the dog and saving the boy.
And on the flip side, wild animals forced to be in homes they were never supposed to be completely snap and turn for the worse.
He's killing my friend!
Who's killing your friend?
Ted, my chimpanzee!
Her nose, mouth, eyelids, and hands were ripped off by her employer's 200-pound pet chimpanzee.
This is why movies like Good Boy or Flow or even video games like Shree are very important. Unlike other animal movies, their stories are about them, their journey, and their adventures and secrets. They're also not anthropomorphic creatures where filmmakers give them human speech and human emotions like betrayal or romance or politics, because that is not how they view loyalty and community and even hierarchy. When you study them for who they are, you realize that they have more of a story to tell than you can imagine. So you might be asking, what point am I trying to make with this video? The point is, I'm very excited for Good Boy. I can hardly wait. And I haven't seen a lot of people give love to these incredible animal protagonists, so I figured, why not? So I will take this opportunity to recommend my top 5 favorite films with animals as main characters. Why? Because since my landlord doesn't allow me to have pets, please let me have this one. Number 5, 8 Below. I think this one is obvious because of how much I praised it, and it's one of those rare overlooked gems that people completely forgot about. Unlike movies where feral wild animals turn into pets, this one is more about animals who were abandoned, who must return to their wild side in order to survive. It also shows what happens to animals who are loyal to man till their very end. It doesn't bode well in the wilderness. And this movie is unique because even though it does show humans in an important light, the animals are also parallel to the story. Whereas we follow Paul Walker's character's guilt-ridden quest to bring back his dogs, the movie parallelly shows how good the dogs get in terms of hunting, foraging, and surviving Antarctica. 11 out of 10 good boys. Number 4, Alpha. Another movie that absolutely nobody talks about, which is a crime, because this one follows the journey of the first wolf who was tamed to be man's best friend. You heard me. Alpha follows the story of Keda, the son of a chief who was left behind after a serious injury during a hunt where he was suspected to be dead. A wolf was also injured around the same time, and both of them learned to tolerate each other's presence, hunt together, and survive, making it one of the most unique animal movies I've ever seen. The final shot of the tribes all having a wolf by their side, I felt like cheering in the theater the first time I saw that. 12 out of 10, good boys all around. Number 3, Flow. Oh, such a beautiful movie. We don't have a lot of cat protagonists yet, so Flow is a very unique instance in this regard. Even though it's an animated movie, it's still one of those rare instances where a cat was allowed to just be a cat and still be able to tell an important and coherent story. Just like Stray, the main protagonist of Flow has nothing unique about him. Or her. For this video's sake, we'll just say him. The cat is trying to survive in this abandoned, post-apocalyptic world, which almost feels like a different version of Earth, where everything is unstable, floods are common, and there are 0 humans. There is a hint that humans actually existed with so many cat monuments and Rome-like cities, but they either all left or these flash floods consumed them. Flow is as atmospheric as they come, with lingering shots of the natural beauty and supernatural elements holding our attention span, and it's also a story about friendship, of found family, and the unique POV of a solitary animal finding his place in the world. 13 out of 10, amazing boy. Number 2, Togo. Okay, this is criminal, not just because this movie was overlooked and buried by Disney with no marketing, but also because the real-life Togo got his valor stolen by another dog, Balto. Not by malice, it happened because of media incompetency, but it still breaks my heart. Togo is the true story of Sepala and his team of dogs, who ran through 261 miles of treacherous Alaskan territory to bring home the antidote to diphtheria, a disease that was killing mostly children in their town in Nome. Togo and his team of dogs ran the longest distance in the middle of a blizzard, and when they came upon an outpost after 261 miles of unforgivable weather, the serum was then given to Gunnar Kasson and his lead dog Balto. Balto and his team of dogs ran the final 55 miles back in town, and the media hailed them as the dogs who ran the entire distance. While Balto got himself a statue in New York, numerous accolades, and an animated film, Togo is remembered in Alaska as the true hero who saved the kids. 14 out of 10, most heroic dog ever. Number 1, Hachiko, A Dog Story. Oh god, just saying that name makes me want to cry. If you haven't seen Hachi yet, save it for a time when you really want your heart broken. Hachiko is the true story of a Japanese dog who belonged to a man named Ueno and remained loyal to his master even after his passing. The film is an Americanized version of this true story where Richard Gere comes upon a lost Akita puppy whom he raises and bonds with and even takes him to work. Hachi followed him every day to the train station, sometimes even on his own, and waited faithfully for his return every single evening, until one day he didn't. Hachi, of course, wasn't there at the time of his master's passing, so he cannot comprehend why his master doesn't return. And what follows is a 10-year-long heartbreaking journey of a dog who simply waits at the train station for his master to return. Wow. Can you feel the power of this movie? I'm just tearing up even thinking about it. I'm not gonna say anything more about this movie than what I've already said. Just go and watch this movie, okay? I know I'm not making a good case by almost crying about it, but sometimes you just need a film that shatters you into a million pieces. This video was a lot of fun to make, and I have a lot more fun on my Patreon, where I react to movies like this in full at just $5 a month. Oh my lord. If you want me to react to your favorite dog movie, your favorite cat movie, or even just your favorite movie in particular, you can send me a request there and we can watch it together. Consider supporting me on Patreon or on Buy Me a Coffee, and check out more of my videos, and thank you for spending time with me.